This is Left at the Door, where people come on the show and talk about things that they have left behind in order to love, grow, succeed, or survive. Here with us today on the show is Chrissy Spurlock, and everybody usually knows her from Giggles, which is a store here in downtown Decatur. But for those who have never stepped foot into Giggles, tell us a little bit about what the store is like and what what it has grown to become over the years.
We have definitely grown over the past 2 years. We moved into our new location on Merchant Street, and I would describe it as, I don't know, maybe just a whimsical, wacky gift store.
Whimsical is the perfect word for it.
Yeah. Plus a bakery.
Mm-hmm. Plus a bakery,
which we added. So we have goodies now.
Yes. So it's like all these, I feel like the one thing that I notice is that it is ever changing. So many stores have what they have, especially small boutiques. It's like until they can push everything out, it just sits there. And you guys are constantly changing things.
It's like Tetris in the store.
Yes.
Honestly, we get boxes in. It's like, okay, we got to move this to make room for this and move this. And I think that helps the customers too, because when you come in, you might not look in this area. But then the next day you're like, oh my gosh, we've had that for 3 years. Really? I've never seen it before. Yeah. So it's constantly changing.
There is an art to merchandising, and I think that that's one thing that you guys really do well, because that's just not my forte. So when I walk into a store, I'm just like, okay, put things on shelves, the end. And it is an experience walking into your store.
And I cannot take all the credit for that because I have great staff that helps me with that, especially Judy. She's very creative, and I've learned so much from her over the last 14 years. Because 2 of the ladies that currently work in the store worked in the store before I owned it.
Wow.
And they both said, when I took ownership, they're like, okay, we'll get you through the first month. We'll kind of show you the ropes, and then we're out of here. Well, guess what? They're still there.
Aw, you tricked them.
Yes, and Gay Donahue, she started at just a couple of cards in the 80s. So she likes to say she's older than the fixtures, which is very true.
But it's probably true. It is
which
true.
is very true. But yes, merchandising I think is a really I don't know. I think it's an art. It really is.
It's so fun walking into your store, and like Cassie, you're there a lot because you help with the marketing and stuff like that. For me, every time I go in, it's such a treat. I don't know what I'm gonna see, but I know that any person I know, I can find something for them in that store.
Any age.
I agree.
Any age does not matter.
Fun.
Yes.
Any age.
Yeah.
Fun.
Any
And
celebration.
At our old store, when we were just right down the street, I think that people would walk in and it would be like girly stuff, and all the boys would be like, "Oh, this is a girly store. Oh, this is a kid's store."
No.
With the new store, I feel like we've kind of switched it up to where when you walk in, it's not so much kids thrown at your face or
Yeah. You can see more. And what I love is every time I'm in there, I notice something new. Like it is just floor to ceiling. Everything is so thoughtful. And that's where, before the pandemic, it's like, let's go to Giggles and kill an hour, because
you could walk around the store for 2
Yes.
hours.
And there's no way
and
you'll
not
see
everything.
And if
gotta
you
look up, look down, look around.
And especially if you need a gift that is unique. That's where we did a gift exchange with my father-in-law's family. And it was like, spend $20, you can't buy alcohol. And I was like,
That's a good one.
right? Like, let's go to
Alcohol's
Giggles.
the go-to.
Yes. I was like, let's go get something that we know no one else is going to pick up.
Yeah.
And we got a unicorn, riding in the back seat sticker.
Oh, yeah, that goes on your car.
Yes.
We had the Pope, we had Donald Trump, we had them all. Yeah.
The Queen.
Yes.
I got the Queen for my brother-in-law. Yeah.
And some socks that had some dirty saying on them,
Yes, I mean, and I think that that's kind of the fun thing about the store is sometimes you don't know how snarky you can get.
Yes.
In that store, because you come in and you look and it's like, oh, colorful and so bright and full, and then you go over and there's
come here.
Yeah,
Hey,
come look at this.
adult content behind this thing. So
Yes.
You have hidden the
and
little
even
things
and
on
even the back
socks,
room,
yes.
the 18 and over room.
There's a
People really
little,
like that.
I do. I think that the other thing I notice about your store is it's like local supporting local. There's so many things there that are
Absolutely.
from local people, and like that's important to
And
shoppers.
you know, you and I talked about that. We really are trying to push that. I've always obviously supported local people, you know, people that wrote a book or whatnot, but recently we've picked up a lot of different lines, like a new bath line from Plume, a card line from Commode to Joy, and recently LA Candles, as that's a new one we're going to have in the store.
Awesome.
Tons of
We have,
books.
tons of books.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law wrote a book, so we have that in the store. There's Dr. Kafalis's daughter wrote a book, and so that's in the store. And Jill Davis wrote a book, ABC Beatles. So we're gonna start to promote that. Maybe once a month, maybe.
Yeah, like once a
Like
month,
just
let everybody
locals
know
supporting
that's there.
locals.
Yeah.
It's really. I just feel like it's really important these days,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
especially with the with COVID and the pandemic. I mean, being shut down, it was. It's hard.
I think it is important too with because some businesses just skyrocketed and exploded and had great success, that the people that happened to like reaching out a hand and helping maybe someone who's not experiencing that same surge.
And we really tried. I mean, all of downtown tried to support downtown. I mean, we
Right.
were eating out, buying lunches,
Yes.
buying dinners,
Yeah.
doing whatever we could to help.
Yes.
And
exactly.
I think the community really did too.
Yeah. And I think people made so much more of an effort to recommend things or recommend stores that they normally wouldn't do, because I noticed that a couple different Facebook groups popped up, and it was so nice because it almost served as like a yellow pages, more or less, that like people
agree.
would like put something out there of like, I'm needing this or I'm needing that.
Who locally can we call for that?
Yeah. And that was amazing
And
to
we
see.
had tons of different people. I mean, not coming into the store, yes, when we were back open, but even calling saying, I would rather buy it from you
Right.
than go to Target or Amazon. I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
I
There's
still
a
shop at those
convenience.
places
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, it is what it is. But if they can find it locally, I think people would go that extra mile to do that.
Absolutely. And pay a little more, knowing that when this season of our lives passes, you'll still have that place to go shop.
Yeah, that's a really important piece too, because when you start looking at towns or cities that start dying away or breaking away, I think that there is still this misconception that you can't shop at the big box stores or you don't go to the mall. But at the same time, we also don't want those places to sit empty. So it has to be this nice give or take of I try to
Right.
think about those things, that do a little bit of everything and make those recommendations.
And everybody will make it then.
Yes, yeah.
I mean,
There's this thought that there's this finite amount of success. And that's the other thing I love about the people in my life, is there's room for everybody at the top. And I think when we all think like that, and that's our mentality, that there's room for everyone to succeed, then we can it's the abundance mindset versus the scarcity mindset. And when we're all in this abundant mindset, which I think is definitely something that's common with people sitting at this table right now, that it's easier to be like, this might cost a little more now, but big picture, it's creating space for thriving.
Yes, because I just think to myself, I know I can't walk into your store and get Jack a winter coat. So
Right.
I'm going to go get that somewhere else. But at the same time,
I can go get him some cool socks.
I can, and I can get him lighted up, gloves and
or a
lighted
hat.
hats. And I can remember calling you that day and I was like, do you have any of those hats that are left over that are lighted up? Because we were going over to Allerton to do the walk through the Christmas lights. And
Those pictures were awesome.
yes, and the boys were like, we want to look cool. And I was like, oh my God, well, Giggles can take care of that.
Yes,
You're
exactly right.
So I just think that it's not just a store that people walk into for birthdays or anniversaries or parties or gender reveals or anything. It is, I don't know, it's just really a part of our lives. And like you said, you grew up going into the store, and same thing. I think about all these presents that I have had over the years, from my childhood to when Jack was born. And that was before I knew you personally. And now it is so funny to think how everything comes full circle.
It is. It really is. I mean, I even have some of the stuff that because we personalize in the store, and the bubble opes.
Yes.
I mean, I have those from when I was in junior high with my name on it. And now here I am doing that for other people.
That's awesome.
It gives me the chills.
I know, right? It's such a good feeling. So talk to us about, because you're more than just Giggles. There's more to you than just Giggles. So you had mentioned before that your husband, Ryan, he is in retail too. Tell us about your family life. What goes on? What's your household like?
Oh, it's crazy. Oh, it's really crazy. Ryan is part owner of the Brass Horn and the Brass Horn 2.
And what are those stores?
Yeah,
They
tell us
are
a
a
little bit about
men's
those.
clothing. Brass Horn's a men's clothing store, and then next door to it is the Brass Horn 2, which I feel like they maybe opened 3 or 4 years ago. And it's a women's clothing and boutique as well. So we're now in it together, trying to run 3s. Well, I don't really have a part in that, but I do use him as a sounding board a lot of times,
yeah.
which I think helps a lot because we experience the same things during the day.
Right.
And I think it would be different if I had a different, like a corporate sit behind a desk job because
Yes.
I don't know. We
Yeah.
can just bounce, ideas off of each other.
I think it really is important. My sister and her husband, they're both pharmacists. And that is they just have their own lingo. They know that they can ask each other things. And
if I have an issue, I'll call them.
Yeah.
Say, hey, how do I handle this? Or how would you handle this? Or I don't know. We just can. It's I think that's just a good bonding for us that we can sound on each other. But we have 2 boys at home. Sam is 10 and Charlie is 6, and they are wild and crazy. And sometimes it's a lot to juggle. I mean, just for instance, this week my husband had to work late 3 nights.
okay.
So here I am home trying to cook dinner, do spelling words,
Right,
do
do
homework,
homework, yes.
and we're asleep before he even gets home.
Ugh.
But it'll flip-flop, so,
Mm-hmm.
you
And there's times of the year that you're busy or whatnot.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So, I mean, we just get really backed up with personalizing at the store, so sometimes I'll have to stay late and do that. But yeah, I mean, we just balance each other out that way.
Yeah. So because it's so demanding, like your jobs, and you are the 2 people that people rely on or that ask questions, and you have to be the, get the answers for them, the solutions. How then do you take a step back and take care of yourself? Like, what does self-care look like, and how do you recharge? Because people are constantly, Chrissy, I need this, and texting you. I mean, yeah,
It's
how does
hard.
that all happen?
It's hard to do. It really is. Sometimes on the weekends I just will shut my phone off. Just say, you know what? I'm not doing this. I'm just not going to answer anything. I'm just going to turn it off. Take a hot bath, relax, have a glass of wine.
Your business is
Lock
not
the
going to
door.
implode
Exactly.
because you take 12 hours off.
Exactly. I mean, it'll be, Monday morning, it'll be there again. So it's not, that's how I try to do it.
There is
But it
that
is really
urgency.
hard.
Yeah, because a lot of times people want an answer and they want it like 10 minutes ago.
They want it now.
Yeah.
And your phone just keeps blowing up.
I think it's about conditioning too, because I run a business and I have a team, and one of the first things I tell them when I bring them on is I am unavailable from Friday night till Monday morning, unless it is an emergency. And like if I have a new girl that's like it's her first night, I'll make myself available. But it's all about like setting expectations and stuff. So how do you do that with your family so that you can like retain harmony at home?
It's really, it's really hard because I have it coming my way and my husband has it coming his way, and especially with, with COVID and everything, that was the only way we were doing sales is
On your phone all the
on
time.
my phone all the time. And, my husband gets mad at me all the time. He's like, why are you on your phone? Why are you on your phone? Because I'm answering questions. I'm trying to
keep the lights
continue
on,
the
buddy.
business. Yes, because I feel like people expect, since everybody is on their phone all the time, they expect an
Yes.
immediate response.
They do. I'm guilty of it too.
Oh,
Even
I
as someone,
am too. I'm
I'm
like, hey, that
like,
person didn't get back to me.
they read that
Why
message
not?
yesterday.
Yeah, I saw the red.
Well,
I
Jesse
saw the
was-
little read.
I know.
At my time.
Uh-huh.
That's really, really hard. And I need to do a better job of just saying, I'm done.
Uh-huh.
Because, and we work Saturdays too. So,
Oh, see, and I don't.
yeah. So and sometimes I don't get a day off. I mean, Sunday is my only day off.
Yeah.
And here you are.
And
with
here I
us.
am, but that's okay.
Yeah,
That's
that is
okay.
true. What about delegating? Like, how do you feel about delegating? Because a lot of women struggle with this. I
It's
feel
hard.
like because we're controlling everything, getting the kids in line, getting all of these pieces to make sure logistically they work.
I try to do that at home and at work too. But then sometimes it's just like, you know what?
It's just easier.
It's easier just to do it yourself.
Gosh.
I don't have to
Yep.
teach them how to do it, or
The energy
walk them through
expelled.
the steps of doing it.
Yes.
It's like, you know what, I can get that done in 5 minutes. I'm just going to do it.
Yep.
Right.
The energy expelled explaining it is more than I have.
I
But then
agree.
but you have to go like, yeah, but if I would just do that this time, the next time I can be like, hey, remember that time I do that.
Yeah, do that. I know. It's really
It's an
hard.
investment.
It's really hard.
And sometimes you just don't have it to,
Right. It's an investment up front.
Right.
I mean, later on it would pay off.
like teaching your kid to tie their shoes.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, someday they'll put on their shoes on their own.
Yeah. Mine still don't.
No.
I'm still buying slip-on shoes.
I know, right?
Because
That
it's
is a
just
boy thing,
easier.
I'm always like, Jack ruins so many shoes being like this. He's just such that 11-year-old boy that, yes, or he'll just like not untie them and just pull and rip the backs of them. I'm like, how is that comfortable? Like, you wonder why you have no support and you like wibble and wobble. Like, who puts shoes on like that? That's like my OCD
That's
in
a
me where I'm
boy.
like, oh man.
Jimmy too.
Yeah.
We go through shows like crazy.
Yeah.
It's the serenity prayer. I'm just like, I'll see him doing it and I'll be like, just accept the things you can't change. Like,
It's not hurting.
it's not hurting. It has nothing to do with me.
But again, that's hard to do.
It is
Bite
so
your tongue.
hard.
Like,
It's so
I just
hard.
want to go over there and help you.
Yep, I could do it
Teach
so
you how
much
to do it.
quicker.
Yeah,
Just do
totally.
it. Yep. Oh, it's so true.
I don't know about you guys. I feel like that trait in me was amplified with children. I thought that I would be like, que sera, sera. They're breathing, they're alive. And I'm like, why are you doing it that stupid way? And
Exactly.
now I have another person in the house doing things wrong. I love you, Dustin.
That's hard.
And that's hard. And, coming from, my kids went to Montessori.
Same.
Yes.
Yeah, so all of our
Right.
kids did. So that's hard to teach them how to, you want to teach them how to do it on their own, but it's like, who can?
And
It's
you
been
know-
10 minutes now. Come on.
Yep, I know, the pace of the child, but
Yes,
the
yes.
world operates at the pace of the world.
I know. That's
And
true.
I just did observations at Prairie Flower, which is the Montessori school.
Okay,
And
yes.
I'm watching Jimmy do banana work, which is
Oh, boy.
where there's a whole tray and you cut the banana and you
Oh, I
put everything
remember
and
those
then
days.
So
Yes.
he it's the only work he consistently does every day is banana work because he gets to eat a banana at the end of it.
Yeah, he gets a reward.
Yes. So I'm
blame him.
watching him do this banana work and put on an apron and then put things away and I'm like, who is this child who walks in the door and I'm like, hey, take your boots off. You do it. You take off my boots. And I'm like, I watched you feed yours.
He
Yes.
just diced up a banana.
And
That's a good point. I think that
And I'm like,
I was
what are
scared
you
to death when my kids would go to school because I know how they act at home. I'm like, oh my gosh, do you do that at school?
I know.
Do you act like that? Because I
Yes.
am so
Well, you know-
embarrassed.
Well, you know what they say though.
But they're not.
They don't.
It's like, if you have kids that are polite in public and assholes at home, it means you're a good parent because you're creating an environment where they feel safe to be themselves. And apparently
is that why?
themselves is an asshole.
Okay, all right.
Yes, you're doing a great
You're
job.
doing a great job. It's totally fine.
But when Jimmy first started, I was getting text messages every day like, Jimmy's such a delight. We love having, and I'm like, they're overcompensating
You're
because he
lying.
is horrible.
I remember those days too. But
No, I go and watch him and I'm like, every 5 minutes he runs up to the teacher and hugs her and says, I love you. I'm like, who is this sweet thing that just
doesn't
walks
do
up
that
to
at
his
home.
sister and slaps her in the head?
Yeah, there's a lot of slapping and
kid.
fighting and
Yes.
kicking and
Totally.
screaming going on at our house.
That happens a lot. Okay, so tell us a little bit about like how do the kids interact then with both of your busy schedules?
We rely on a lot of family.
Yeah.
Lots of family, which luckily I have a ton of family here in town. And my mom just moved to our neighborhood, so she's a
definitely.
street
grandma's.
over now.
Yes.
Yes. So I'm sure she is liking it, but not loving it because guess where they are at 6 a.m, knocking on the front door.
Oh, no. Well, yeah.
That sounds horrible.
Right?
Yeah, I
Well,
know.
they're bored.
Yeah.
That's what people see.
And they have these little watches now that are
Yes.
called gizmos.
Right. Yeah.
And
Jack
they-
had one of those.
And
What's
they
a
can
gizmo?
call- a gizmo. It's a little watch. You can program a couple numbers into it because they leave the house and they're like, I don't find them. I don't know where they are in the neighborhood. They're off riding their bikes somewhere.
Yeah, it's
So
like
it
a
has
phone.
It has a
It's like
tracking
they have-
device.
Yeah, they can track
But they
them,
can
have
call
a
you
phone.
anytime. So
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Do you watch Investigation Discovery?
No. Should I?
No. No.
Those type of neighborhoods though, I feel like there's certain pockets though that you're like, it is
That's
safe
probably
to do that.
fine.
Our subdivision is like that. I mean, Jack, he doesn't, I mean, he's also a little bit older, but I mean, he's that way too.
I just got tired of not being able to find my kids.
Right. Yeah.
and getting in the car and driving around the neighborhood trying to find them. I'm like, yeah, no.
This is my
And
nightmare.
I'm the crazy mom screaming, damn it, Charlotte, get home.
Yes.
This is why there's alarms on my
So
doors.
now I can
Yes.
just call them.
Where are you at? Or I'm going to look it
Exactly.
up on the computer and find out where
and
you're
send a
at.
police officer
Yes.
Oh, I
Yeah.
need to
to
do
recover
that.
your body. Like
I
know.
No,
See,
I'm
that's- I can't.
a
That's
little
where you go
beyond
with
the I don't do the if I can't see you, you're too far away thing, but I do tell Jack if you can't hear me when I yell. And I'm a cheerleader, so that means he can go pretty far.
You have a lot of voice.
I have a lot of voice, but still, and it's okay because like the next cul-de-sac over is some friends, so he can still hear. But that's why I said it was like anything beyond that, you're too far.
Yeah, you're too far.
But they don't understand it, that concept and safety and whatnot.
But think about when we were kids.
Yeah, we ran around.
Yep.
ran amok.
I'm gonna run to the
Everywhere.
grocery store. I have to cross the highway. I'm gonna go to the gas station for candy. Sure, no problem. Have a good time. 8-year-old on a bicycle.
Exactly.
We would never do that.
Times
There's
have changed.
no way.
There
I
is
would not
no
do that.
And it's not
obviously.
even like we grew up in Sullivan. It's not even the difference between Sullivan and Decatur.
Right.
It's the difference between the 90s
Yes.
and now.
And
Yeah.
now.
I mean,
And
we live across the street from the school now, and Jack told me the other day, he was like, I'm going to just ride my bike. And I was like, no, that you can walk where you're going to be like a little bit more aware. But I was like, I'm not even having you ride your bike and like weaving in and out of traffic and things like that.
It's scary.
It is. I'm like, this is not going to happen.
Oh.
Maybe I told him, I said, when you're 17, you can ride your bike to school. He was like, I'll drive my car.
Oh, you think you're getting a car?
That's cute. So it's just these little things that you start saying, you're like, okay, there's so many different trends and things that have changed. But I mean, there are some things that fundamentally are still the same. And I think that there's a comfort in that as well.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree. And we enjoyed our time at home, and
Yeah.
because actually Ryan, the brass horn, actually shut down for a month. We figured out how to wing it and still do sales. So
yeah,
I
you
was,
guys have a Cassie.
I was like, all right, Cassie, let's get this party started.
It does make, I mean, I do think there's so many businesses like that where some of them are like, but some of them did not have the attitudes that you guys have. Like some of them
100% agree.
were like,
Some people.
this is a pandemic and I just don't know what to do with myself. Okay,
Exactly.
well, do you want to, and they would complain about not having money. Like, I don't know how we're going to pay our bills. I really don't
Figure
have
it
it
out.
out. Yeah, well, we
Figure it out.
I'm a figure. Me too. I'm like, well, we have 4 things that we could do right now, and we could have that probably done in the next 2 weeks. I don't know. I can't even think right now because it's a pandemic.
Right.
I mean, I was like that for about 5 minutes where I was
Yeah,
like,
there was a couple days.
what the hell am I
Right.
going to do? And then it's like, you know what? And I say this all the time. If it's important, you'll find a way. If it's not, you'll find an excuse.
I agree. I
And-
agree.
It's a really good.
And I don't want to invalidate like depression because
Oh,
we were
correct.
all freaking the hell out. And
It was like something out of a movie.
it was
exactly.
very scary.
Yeah.
It was.
We're not
you're
going to
like,
have
well,
jobs. We're not
Yes.
going to
Yes.
have money.
People
like,
are
what
not
we
shopping.
gonna
People
do?
are doing stuff.
But then you have to go, okay, I can control what happens right here. And take ownership of that power and go, okay, if I can control what happens right here, that's what I'm going to control.
Exactly.
And that's all I can do. And then whatever happens from there. And what I was seeing consistently was this ripple effect. It's like, well, if I do this, then she'll do that. And if I can make this happen, this other thing will fall into place. And then pretty soon, a lot of stuff's okay.
Yes. Right. Well, I think that was the essence of even starting the Prairie Commons Collective, because all these businesses were like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
And you're like,
And then I was like,
I have an idea.
I might have an idea. So they'd start coming on board. And then a couple others would be like, oh, I saw so-and-so doing it. But sometimes it does. It takes like one person to just go ahead and be like, I'm just going to keep moving forward. And if you want to,
And that's it.
I
Just
can-
keep swimming.
yes,
Just
keep swimming.
Just
like,
keep
I'll pull you on
swimming.
board if you want to keep coming. Yes. Yeah. But
And you were a huge help to us when the whole, pandemic started. I called Cassie and was like, we got to figure out how to get all this stuff online.
Yep.
Because, and we weren't necessarily open in the store, but we were still there 3 days a week. Curbside pickup.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, I had a very, low employee, it was just Andy,
Yeah.
I guess, at that point in time. The kids were at the store running around because they're
Yeah.
not, playing tag and hide and go seek. I mean, but hey, we made it work.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I think that really set the pace for so many other businesses. I really do believe that when they saw you guys operating and saying, all right,
We can still do it.
yes, it's condensed,
out
it's
a
maybe
way.
different, but we're still going to figure out a way to do it.
Oh, it was a totally different way of doing business.
Well, and survival mode looks different for everybody.
Yeah, it does.
And for some people, it's shut down, protect my energy, whatever. And for other people, it's like, I will carry on.
Yeah, can't.
No.
Tell me no.
Yep. We're going to
I'm
figure
gonna
this
keep
out.
on doing it.
Yep.
I was gonna keep on doing it until somebody knocked on my door and told me not to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
But there was no one in the store. I mean, it was pretty much a year ago. This is Andy and I were in the store. Again, kids running around, taking pictures and text messaging people what they wanted in their Easter baskets.
Uh-huh.
And so I had orders coming, text messages, phone calls, store calls,
Facebook.
website,
it's-
Instagram. And I don't
it's
know how I
different.
kept it all together.
I mean, I'm the same way. I've been running my business for 11 and a half years. And I was very firm in February of 2020. This is not a business you can do online. It requires in-person, face-to-face contact and connection. And then this happened, and I was like, shit. Now I got to figure out how I do this online. I'm eating my words. I don't care. But I'm like, all right, we'll just throw a bunch of stuff at the wall. Instagram, Facebook, lives. Well, what do I do?
Right.
Texting people, and it's like, okay, I found 6 things that work. So I'm going to keep doing those 6 things. And I'm going to try to do those 6 things that I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm going to just try to do them really well. And then, I don't know about you, but we had our biggest year ever in business.
We did too.
And so when people are like, nobody has money, no one's shopping, I'm like,
that's a
who the
lie.
hell is nobody?
Yeah.
And
We had our best year ever.
same.
Yes.
And my whole team had their best year ever. So it's just
you just
life
had-
is what you make it.
It's exactly
Always
right.
has been, always will be. And that's, that's
Just had to pivot.
Yeah, that's very true.
Figure
Pivot
it
was
out.
the word.
Yeah.
Pivot is the word.
So what is your word of 2021?
Oh, I don't know. We're only 3 months into it, so
Uh-huh.
Just
I
still
usually
trying to figure it out.
yeah,
pick my word before the year starts.
well, that's a good idea.
But now we're, so I want to decide.
Everybody, kept saying, "I just want 2020 to be over with. I just want, come on, 2021."
And I was like, this is kind of
Still the same.
You're still
it's
you.
getting better,
Right,
but
right.
yeah.
But you're still you.
Yeah.
The year didn't do anything to you.
No.
Like,
I mean, I feel like it made us grow and
Absolutely.
figure out a different way of
Yes.
doing business, and we're still continuing to do business that way. So now we're doing it the old way
and the new way.
and the new way,
Yes.
Yeah.
which almost is 2 different businesses. I mean,
Right.
it's
It really is in a lot
it's
of ways.
it is, because you still have the people that are coming into the store, but you still have those people that don't want to come into the store.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We picked up and did a ton of shipping too. Like
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we were shipping like crazy.
I'm pumped for my write-offs for 2020. I won't have the mileage I usually have,
Yeah.
but oh man, that postage. Yeah, it's going to be
But I think
good.
that's really where growth comes from, is there's that uncomfortableness, there's things that you didn't know or that you didn't know how to do, and it's just that continuing to figure out how to do it and how to
and
operate.
it pushed us, COVID pushed you in that direction.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And
it
it's
really
not
did.
something that I thought I would ever be doing and how I would be doing business, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. We, sitting here at this table, share a lot of similarities with being moms in business, and so many of our listeners and our viewers are in that same boat. So what would you say is something that you have left at the door, or that you're attempting to try to leave at the door in order to move forward and be the best version of yourself?
I would say guilt,
Okay.
just that mom shame.
Yeah.
I do. I come into work sometimes and I'll go in the back and just look at Andy and say, "Am I a good mom?" Because sometimes I feel like my world's falling apart. And then she gives me a pat on the hug and says, "You're a great mom. Your kids love you. Move forward." But that's something that I'm really trying hard to leave at the door.
A lot of people have that as almost like this secret thing where we don't talk about it a lot, but it not only drives a huge part of all the decisions we make in our daily our daily lives, but it also forms our identity in so many ways. That guilt of am I a good mom? Did I do things right? And you rehash things from the
you
days
go
before.
over 1,000 times in your head.
What new special way did I fuck my kid up today?
Yeah. I'm like, okay, is that going to live with them for the rest of their life?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, permanent damage done there, moving right along.
But I do think that not a lot of people talk about it.
Yeah.
I think everybody wants to paint this pretty picture of just perfect life, and I'm perfect. Well,
Yes.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, since leaning into Hot Mess Express Jess and just being like, it is a shit show around here, welcome. I feel so much more at ease. I don't want to say I've ever been someone that, like, I feel like I need to put up a front or put on pretenses or whatever. I feel like I've always been pretty myself, but now I'm just like, well, here's what happened today, folks.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Sometimes that feels good just to get it out too.
and you have people go, oh my God, girl, me too. And
know.
you realize I'm opening the door for someone else to
Exactly.
say, hey, I also don't know what the hell I'm doing. I don't have my shit together. We're in this together. Your kids are going to be fine. Your intention matters. And just what I say, like, over and over to myself all day is just do all things with love. Just do all things with love. Yeah, you're going to screw up. Nobody's perfect. But at the end of the day, your kids know you love them. And ultimately, all the decisions you're making and everything you're doing is for the greater good of your family. Then, yeah, you know, hindsight's 20/20. We will continue to screw up. But
Yep.
I look back at my childhood, and there are so many things that I do not remember. And I just went on vacation to North Carolina. My brother lives down there. And one of the nights that we were just like sitting on the couch, it was me and him and then his wife, Jackie. And we talked about that, where we had gone to like Disney. And I think that I was like 12 maybe. So that would have put Grant maybe like 8 or 9. And we look at pictures and I was like, I do not remember any of this whatsoever. So I have all these friends and family that are like, just like this mom guilt of, you know, if I make this decision or if I make this choice, like it is going to just ruin my child's life. And I think to myself, there is like moments in my childhood that are like big moments that I do remember, or if I look at pictures, it'll spark something. But I think in general, I just don't believe that the choices like this, or us going to work or getting a divorce and leaving an unhappy marriage or an unhealthy marriage, doing those types of things doesn't just trigger like these children to just be like, okay, well,
my childhood is ruined.
their childhood is ruined, you know? Like, I don't remember what I did in kindergarten whatsoever. I barely remember like junior high thing, unless it was major softball games, blah, blah, all these things. So I try to think about that whenever I am working. And part of that is also my communication with my son, Jack, is like making him feel like he's a part of, or explaining to him why I do things or choose the, you know, the projects that I'm working on. Because my hope is that he doesn't see it as my mom is a workaholic. He sees it as like, these are the things that my mom did in order for me to then be able to play baseball and have really cool new shoes, or you know,
That's
things
what I
like
was-
that, those
Or
sacrifices.
you enjoy what you do too.
Yeah.
My boys are getting old enough
So
to where
important.
I can explain that a little bit more
Yeah.
to them, and they do come to work with me quite often. And you know, they sometimes ask me, well, why were you working so late? Well, I'm working because number one, I love my job. Number two, it's, I mean, how do you think you get all this stuff? You know, how can we go on vacation? And just telling them or teaching them, I guess, the value of $1 as well.
yeah, absolutely. And that's the other thing I was going to say is all of us running businesses, it's all, I mean, at the core, we're doing something we love, but also it's facilitating a lifestyle. And while you might not remember this whatever event from when I was 12, you'll remember the feeling of being at home. And like, I grew up in a place where we struggled. I remember that struggle and what it felt like to not have. And I don't want my kids to know what that feels like. So it's like, yeah, they might remember, you know, mommy didn't put me to bed every night because she was working. But in the grand scheme of things, like, we have a comfortable life. We have great, strong relationships because, and Cassie and I were talking about this the other night, is we have lives where, like, we've crafted it in a way where I don't have to do a lot of stuff I don't want to do because the work I do, I love. And the people I spend time with, I enjoy. So, like, my mom, she was a bookkeeper and she liked that work, but like if she didn't like her boss or if she didn't like her coworkers, you just suck it up and take it, you know.
Right. There's a lot of people out there that I think are in that position where, I mean,
I've been in it.
they don't like what they're doing, and I have too.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to find something that you love,
Absolutely. And that when
and you're happy to go to work.
Yes.
and that it makes it worth the sacrifice of maybe I worked late a couple of nights or maybe I work on Saturdays. Yeah, I'd love to have weekends off, but
I would love to have weekends off.
yeah.
I mean, Thanksgiving to Christmas, I don't take a day off.
There's not a day off.
There's
right?
not a day
That's
off.
right.
We're open every single day. Even on
And
Sundays.
that's what I was going to say. And the other thing is that like the prepping of things, because you guys do so many personalized, crafty things.
Yeah.
It's not just buy something off the shelf. That there's so many,
Right.
whether it's the baked goods or the personalization. That
There's
it's
a
like,
lot of labor that goes
There
into it.
is.
It's not just open the shop,
Yeah.
you know.
But then
sell,
also-
sell the stuff and close the shop up. It's
Right.
there's a lot of stuff that has to be done.
Then also I think that probably contributes to how rewarding that job is, though, that you get to do those personal things, right?
It is, yeah. Exactly.
Working a lot triggers that mom guilt. You're in retail, you're gone a lot, you have a lot of demands made on you. Aside from work, what else kind of triggers that feeling in you? Like, are you doing things for yourself?
Probably not as much as I should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Which
in a
is kind of sad.
but you know what? In a
And
perfect
you're really making me think about this.
See, when you do start thinking about it though, but I think it depends on the season of your kids too.
Yeah.
Like depending on what age they are, there's like different things that you're like, well, I can't do that because, well, and I think about this. Jack is 11, so I know my time with Jack, my vacations with Jack, the things that we do, the activities we even do are so different. And I know with your boys being a little bit older, are very different than what you can do because Jimmy's little.
because he's 2 and
'Cause
he's
he's
the
two.
Tasmanian
Yeah,
devil, and we
yes.
can't take
Yeah.
him in public. And
Yes.
Yeah, I think there are different ages.
Yes. And then that trigger different types of guilt
and
for things.
You know, being that I work on Saturday, like I feel bad. My kids have never gotten to play soccer because guess what? Soccer practice is on Saturday mornings. I've missed basketball games. I've missed baseball games. I mean, luckily enough, I have enough family that they at least have somebody there watching them. But
So it's
yeah,
also
I feel guilt.
It's also important, though, that even through that guilt that you do things to keep yourself whole. On the topic of spending time away from your family to do things, it's a Sunday. So typically on Sundays, we would be at home, spending time together as a family, playing outside and all that, and here I am with you guys. I'm happy about that today, though, because it was pandemonium when I left my house. Sorry, Dustin, I love you. But I said to Charlie when I was leaving, be a good listener for Daddy. Be helpful with Jimmy. Charlie's 4, Jimmy's 2. And she looks at me and says, why? I was like, because it makes Daddy sad when you are not a good listener and when you're not helpful. And Dustin can hear this conversation happening at the table. He hears her say why and goes, ha! And I said, because it makes him sad and whatever. And she looks at me, she like puts her head down and goes, I'll be a good listener when we play outside. And I was like, cool. And I just walked away and I was like, have fun with that. And I had like gone back in the bedroom, I forgot something, and we always shut the door behind us. There's things in there they don't need to be able to get to, my art and stuff like that. And I shut the door and it opens and it's him. And I was like, and they're behind him, they're up his butt, and he just shuts the door and we have a child thing so they can't get into our bedroom. And I'm like, what's going on? Do you need something? He's like, nope. I said, is Daddy in timeout? He's like, yep.
Yes.
But that's how
Sometimes you
real
wanna
life
put yourself
is.
in timeout.
Yeah, it's so true. It really is. I mean, there has been times that like I felt like my mom just knew how to do everything. She knew when every picture day, every sporting event, everything. She just managed our house and like made it look so easy. And I can remember a time like Jack had like something in his eye. We had gone and eaten out somewhere. He had something in his eye, and I was like, I had just drops. And I was like, let me just put these drops in your eye or else we are going to have to go to the doctor. This is not okay. Yeah, that's right. And this is back when I still wore contacts. And I'm not kidding. We're on the square in downtown Sullivan. There's like all these walkers and he is wailing.
While you hold him down.
Yes.
I could totally picture this
And I'm
right
just
now.
like, you would have thought that I was just beating the life out of that child. And I finally was like, call my mom and dad. And I was like, you need to come up here immediately or else I'm going to take him to the firehouse and let them deal with him. And I'm just going to be like, whatever you have to do to get it out, get it out. But it was like a wood chip. So it's not like you could just leave it. But I just think to myself, this is real life. And I joke about it all the time where everyone's always like, Jack is such a good kid. He is. But there are real moments where you just are like, I know I'm not a good. And I said that. I told my mom, I was like, I'm just going to go for just 2 minutes because I can't deal with this any longer.
Did the same thing this week.
Mm-hmm.
Husband was working late. Kids went to the dentist. my mom took him to the dentist because, again, I was working, and they have cavities. So they need to start flossing more often, which I try to get him to do all the time.
Right.
So Ryan's at work. I'm trying to get Charlie to floss, and he is stubborn and will not do it. Kicking, screaming. It was nice out, so I had the windows open. I am dragging him into the bathroom by his feet, and he is screaming and trying to hit me. Sam, of course, is the angel in his room, already flossed and reading his book.
Right.
I called my mom.
Yeah.
I said, you have got to come over here and help me. I am going to lose my shit.
This is the reason you moved in our subdivision.
Exactly.
is to come help.
For
And so
yes.
I locked him in, well, not really locked him in his room, but put him in his room, held the
Yes.
door. He is kicking, screaming. And a little faint memory came back to me that I think I did the same thing when I was his age, and I threw the blind through the window. And that's what I called my mom and said, I feel like this might be a blind through the window kind of night.
Oh.
Will you please come over and help me? And of course she did. She did. But
Did he do it for her?
yes. And then this is the best part. So Ryan has no idea what's going on because, we're asleep by the time he gets home. The doorbell rings next morning, 7 a.m. Like, who in the heck is at our door?
Right.
It's my mom with donuts.
Mom,
Kids with
cavities.
Exactly.
That's such a grandma thing, though.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, she would
What
have
the
never
hell
done
are
that
you
as a
doing?
mom. Like that would have
Oh,
never
no.
been not as a mom thing, but as a grandma thing, they'll do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. So she was there to talk to him about being nice to me and teaching them how to brush and floss their teeth correctly. I said,
Oh.
after the donuts? I was so mad.
It takes a village, though. It really does. There's so many conversations like that that I rely on. Like, it is difficult, obviously, sometimes being a single mom, but there is so many rewarding things where I'm like, I really feel like Jack is a better, well-rounded kid because he has people in his
Because I'm
life.
not the only one shaping him.
Yeah, exactly.
With all my
Exactly.
own internal
Yes.
screwed up stuff.
Yes. So he then thinks like, okay, well, this person says that, or this teacher told me this. And then, so then he's like, okay, this is like a more worldly view.
You've dodged the self-care question a little bit.
know.
So let's say that in a perfect world where you have the time and the resources and you have no guilt, you've absolved yourself of guilt, what's the thing that like you feel would just completely refill your cup?
Just getting away without the kids.
Little vacation.
Just a little vacation. And my husband and I, we really try. Our anniversary is New Year's Eve.
Oh.
And so after the Christmas rush, it's like,
Oh.
okay, so we normally try to go down to St. Louis for a few days. However, this year that didn't happen.
Right.
But I would say just getting away
Where would
without
you
the kids. I don't care where it would be.
really?
I don't care. It could be
Someone says
a
plane
hotel,
tickets to anywhere.
a hotel here in Decatur just
Oh,
to get
right.
away
Just to get away. Yeah.
of the house, of the dog. I mean, we have a dog, we have a cat. We have, it's just all the responsibilities, I guess. Just say, hey, I'm done.
Right. Just let me refresh.
Yep.
I will say two things so that it makes you feel better. Whenever I get asked this question, what do you do for self-care? Same answer. I'm always like,
I know. It makes you kind of think about, damn, I don't do anything for myself.
right. But I will say something probably 2 years ago, more or less, sparked, probably like 2019, sparked just little choices, and March of 2019, I went to Phoenix, and my mom and sister helped with Jack, and my dad, they helped with Jack, and I went to a retreat. It was in the Women's International Retreat, and I was like, there's so many good speakers and stuff, and I'm like, I'm just gonna do this, and then I got teased because they're like, self-care is not going to a retreat, Cassie.
Kind of
It
true.
absolutely is.
And I was like, look, I got to sit and listen to like all of these people who had remarkable stories, authors, all these different people who have incredible lives, and just be able to put things in perspective, that like, well, I'm sitting here complaining about, I've got, at that point in time, Jack was still in hockey. So I'm like, I had hockey 10 nights a week. And then, so I was sitting here complaining about that. And they're like talking about how they were, the conditions of how they lived in Africa. And I was like, I have no right to be upset about hockey.
Sometimes it takes something like that to just make you realize
Perspective.
But
Put
I
your back
do
in
just
line.
change your frame of mind. But I do think that one little shift of like little trips getting away or things like that. Jesse and I do that together even. You know,
we
there's
find little
things.
pockets. Or what's the thing that's happening in May? There's some event that it's like this meditations. I don't know. I sent it to her and she's like, let's go. Like, yes, let's do it. It's not a huge time commitment. It's not, but we have 2 months to make arrangements so that this thing can happen for us. And it's not
We went
a
to
week.
Chicago and did a salt cave. I mean, it may
Yes.
just be a day thing.
Exactly.
It may not be even anything.
Salt cave?
Yes.
Yeah, it's not a week on a beach in Mexico.
That
I would.
sounds like fun.
It was.
Yeah, we will. We're
And
going to start
we-
dragging you along to these things.
We sat in a
I will
sauna.
Yeah.
We did sauna. I had a massage, I think.
Yeah.
Did you do a float? You did the
I-
foot
yes.
aromatherapy thing?
Yeah.
We just spent the day getting all these
And it's
services.
called the cave?
It's like a
No.
salt cave. No, but it's a salt cave. It's
Alternative
like a
spa.
Yeah, it's like
I
a
think
spa.
I might have been to this.
It's in Galena.
Okay, no, I haven't. Never mind.
Yeah.
It's in Galena. We stayed at a Holiday Inn or something like that, but I wanted a jacuzzi tub in the room.
Oh, yeah.
So I got naked and took a bath while she laid in bed and FaceTimed. And I was like, don't mind me, I'm over here just having a bubble bath. And I was like,
that was a good face.
I'm gonna watch. Just keep that turned towards you.
Don't turn it this way.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I do think that little things, little choices, little everyday choices. But it could be something as simple. Maybe self-care is not just spa days. Sometimes I think it's even just something as simplistic as like, okay, before I go to pick Jack up, like I will take 2 extra minutes and just kind of get everything together. Like I get off the phone, I make sure that I wrap up all of that stuff just to make sure that I'm a better version of myself whenever he gets me or whoever, you know, it makes all the difference in the world.
Absolutely.
I need to start doing more of that.
And you just
So
find.
thank you for making me realize that I need more of that.
And it sounds silly, but like one of my things I do is I have a murder podcast, like a true crime podcast. I can't listen to that in front of my kids.
Right.
So when I'm getting ready to go somewhere, I'm unavailable. I'm in my bedroom. I'm in my bathroom. The door is shut. I'm listening to my murder podcast while I put on my makeup. And it's 10 minutes. But it's 10 minutes that I'm not listening to Anna and Elsa. It's 10 minutes that I'm not listening to Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious for the 40th time. The new one is Frosty the Snowman. Why are we listening to that? It's March.
That's March.
So it's 10 minutes, but it's this little pocket that I'm like, I'm a person who is not a mother, who is not a wife, who is just Jessie, who likes this true crime podcast.
have
It's,
your own
it's funny
life,
that you
yeah.
said that because I've recently I haven't really had time to read a book, so I've been listening to books on the phone, and that's what I do in the morning.
Yep.
I just go to the bathroom, shut the door, and turn on my book.
What are you listening to now? Or like, what are some of your favorites that you've like gone through?
I like murder mystery detective ones. Did you guys watch Big Sky?
No, but I want
Okay, it's
to.
on
I heard
CBS.
it's really
Yeah.
good.
So I'm listening to his second book.
Yes.
It's really good.
Okay. And sometimes, are you the type of person that, did you watch the show then?
I did watch the show.
Is the book better than the...
I actually didn't read the first book.
Okay.
Well, you went straight to
So
number
I went
2.
straight to the show.
Yes.
And then I realized that he was coming out with the book in March. And I was like, ooh, I really liked that. So now I'm
Yes.
listening to the book.
Yeah.
But I'm also a big, Dateline. I like to listen to the
I
daytime
love Dateline.
podcasts.
Yeah.
Yes.
I did inventory in the basement this past year. Put my, pods in.
That's perfect.
And I
That's a
said,
good idea.
I came upstairs, I said, you know what? I know each and every way how to get away with killing my husband.
Right?
And the girls just looked at me and they're like, what have you been listening to?
What are you doing
I
down
was like,
there?
Dateline.
No,
I know how to get away with everything.
I can't listen to the true crime podcast while I'm driving home at night by myself.
Oh, yeah, that would get a
What
little
if
crazy.
I can't? And I had to stop while I was pregnant because my anxiety was just pew.
Through the roof, yeah.
And I'd hear a noise. Oh God, I was really pregnant with Charlie, and Dustin had to do a weekend in St. Louis for work, and I had all the dogs in the bed. They don't sleep in the bed. They slept in crates, but I was like, I need them in the bed. And our bloodhound, he just spent the whole night like this, looking at the door with his ears up, and I'm like, you got to get in your crate. I can't do it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I bring the pit bulls in instead, and they just snoring all night. I'm like, great, I'm getting murdered.
I know. All those scenarios start going through your head. And then you've like made up a whole true
Yes,
story in your head.
Why is it so entertaining? It just is. And it's escapism. And that's part of my form of self-care. I love my life. I love my husband. I love my kids. But you still, you get to push pause and check into an alternate reality.
I do.
And that's what I love so much about podcasts, which is why you're here, right?
Exactly.
Would you say that there are people in your lives that inspire you?
Absolutely.
Who would those people be? Like, and how do they inspire you in what facet of your life?
Oh, all the women in my family. They are very strong, independent women. They kind of rule the roost, and sometimes you don't, it's the opposite. So I feel like I have a good voice for that. Everybody that I work with, too. Everybody at Giggles has just something that they're good at, and I think that's why we are so good at what we do. Everybody has a role, and we learn from each other. Judy with displays, Andy with baking. I hate to bake. And now I'm the second backup baker. But, I wouldn't have never have learned how to do that and had a love for it, I guess, and a passion for it had, not been for her. Learned to draw from Gaze taught me how to draw. I didn't even personalize for like the first 6 months after I bought the store. It was a learned trait. And then there's Penny, who keeps us in line and keeps us organized. And she comes after us, and it's like, you left a mess here, you left a mess here, you left a mess here. I had to clean it all up. Then I just say thank you, because I didn't have to do it, you did it.
But that's one of the things about working with creative people.
Yes.
So your whole life, do you feel like you've always been drawn to, need to put something into a creative outlet? And
No, that's the weird thing.
Really?
I went to school in South Carolina, college, I guess, in South Carolina, for health promotion.
Oh, that's
What do you think you were going to do with that?
I had no idea.
run a choice store.
I just wanted to get a diploma, and
Right.
graduate,
Just
get
get
an
something.
education.
Right.
So I don't know. I came back. I've never worked in the health field. So.
Do you
Retail.
ever think about that? Do you ever think, like, in another life, you're just so content that it doesn't even cross your mind?
It doesn't cross my mind anymore. I think it bothered me at first because I didn't know what I was going to do. So I graduated in December with health promotion and sports medicine. And I had a job there, so I ended up staying until probably February. But in the meantime, I came home in December for Christmas and ran into Ryan at our store, which used to be Cat's Bar, which is so funny because now that's Giggles.
Yeah, your new location used to be the old Cat's Bar.
So that's kind
that's
of where
cool.
we ran into each other. And we grew up knowing each other. He went to a different high school than I, but we're the same age. So then I went back to South Carolina to finish up my job there, and we continued to talk. And I don't know. I came home. I didn't really know what to do. We started to date, and the rest is history, I guess.
Yeah, that's so amazing. I love stories like that, though, because in this day and age, I am such an advocate for people not just going to college just because. That was expected out of us. I think that because
100%.
our parents, many of our parents, some of them did go, some of them did not go, but many of our parents had that attitude of like, you need to go.
That's what makes you
you have to
successful.
go.
You
Yes.
have to go.
You have to go. You have to get that piece of paper. And, so we did the thing, but there are so many people that are like, I either don't use my degree or I have a career that I didn't need a degree.
Or I'm
Yes.
drowning in student loan debt, and I don't even.
Yes.
I mean, for me, I spent 3 years at the University of Illinois going to college. Like, that was my major, just trying to fit classes into my work schedule, college. And then had, tens of thousands of dollars of debt, and I don't have a degree. And what would I wouldn't, it would have taken me 5.5 years to get one because of working full time just to afford to be there.
Yes.
And that's where people, like, now that we have the means to have a college fund for our kids, we don't have a college fund. We have a life fund.
Yes.
When you're done with your secondary education, then you can decide, am I going to go on a trip and discover the world? Am I going to invest in a business? Am I going to teach myself how to do pottery? Like, what am I going to do? But I want them to have choices like I've had, or to decide, I don't know maybe I'm going to keep living at home, which, they're 2 and 4. So they say,
You got a while.
they say, I want to live with you forever.
Oh,
I'm
that's
like,
cute.
I don't know if I'll feel that way when you're a teenager.
Yeah, and social norms say it's not going to be cool for that to happen.
No.
But I do think that is the difference between all of these mom and pop businesses that we see. We have all of these that still are here, these shops, boutiques that are just like Giggles, or just like Brass Horn. And if those pieces went away, that not only changes our economy, but it changes the essence of our communities.
The whole culture of
It's
Decatur.
The whole culture. And so when you see these small towns that are dying off because these businesses are closing up shop, There's no succession plan in place, you know? So if Charlie and Sam don't take over those businesses, who will? Those are the conversations, and then that's why I try to transition that mom guilt into having that perspective that, and maybe this is very egotistical, but I tell Jack, what I do makes a difference. And I truly believe that.
Same.
And so I think when we are honest with our kids that it is okay to be passionate about something, and it is okay to be so confident to know that you are helping someone, that helping someone is probably the best thing that can happen for yourself. That, I think, is how I transition that guilt.
And it's important
That's a good way to do. I mean, I like that.
And it's important to find that for each individual, because you're going to have people that run a fast food joint that are like, I'm making a difference. I'm getting the people that come through in the morning the coffee that fuels their day. I'm giving these kids coming out of high school their first job. I'm teaching life skills. So whatever that is for you, finding that thing that you feel passionate about and knowing that you are making a difference. It doesn't have to be a big thing. You don't have to run a big successful business, and you don't have to make people's Easter morning and Christmas morning special. You can be making every day survivable for the people around you, and that is such a contribution to the community that I don't think people think about.
And making a difference can be as simplistic as having a conversation. I'm sure that you see it coming in where people come into the store and they just talk. You know,
you're like, I'm clearly
like
the first person
verbal
you've
diarrhea.
seen today.
I was like,
yes.
Okay, I know your whole life story. But
Right.
that's okay. Sometimes
Your
you
total is $64.50.
just need to get it out.
Yes.
And that's okay.
little things like that, just even those conversations, that verbal diarrhea of the dumping on you. I do think that it makes a difference in people's days, because not every job has to be like, oh, I did brain surgery on someone. Sometimes it's just about connection. That's fundamentally what it is, that there is pieces that you're connecting, or you're doing something for someone that they walk out and they're maybe you've made their life a little bit better, or maybe made them a little happier.
By listening.
Yes.
And
It's so easy. All you have to do is just listen.
And
You don't
for
even
some
have to
people,
say anything.
For some people, listening is so hard. Like
I agree.
when you walk away from a conversation, if your thought is, wow, I really liked that person, you probably did 90% of the talking. And it's because what we value, especially as women, is someone who actually hears what we're saying, especially women with children, that when someone is actually listening, retaining, and interacting with what you're saying, like, oh my God, this is magical. You, my friend, are a unicorn. Let's spend more time together.
Do you ever think about the impact that you have, like when you are designing something? So if it's a piggy bank or something like that, do you ever like think about this is going to do something for someone, or are you just like, this is a piggy bank?
I would say sometimes I do. Just kind of depends on what mindset I'm in on that day.
Like maybe the kid gets this piggy bank and they save up money and they buy their first art set and now they're a painter.
Yep, there
Stuff
you go.
like that.
We do, now that you said that, we do a lot of piggy banks for kids that are getting adopted.
Oh, I love that.
Those I do think about a lot, because I just think that their life's getting ready to change.
Uh-huh.
And that kind of pulls up hard a little bit.
Oh gosh, no kidding. To know that there's a piece of, well, it's not just even that they have a gift. It's that like there's a future tied to that it's like you're saving away for something. Things are going to change literally and figuratively for you. So that would have to be such a huge impact.
Yeah, those do get me. And then, we put the date on there that they're being adopted, and it just, I don't know, it's like a whole new life start for them.
You guys do a lot of community outreach. Tell us a little bit about, why do you do that? Because some businesses, we know you get hit up all the time. Can you donate this? Can you donate that? What's your philosophy on that? Because you guys participate in a lot of things.
We do. I think it's really important to be present in the community, because I think if you're present in the community, then the community knows about you, and it's, it goes both ways. So I'm pretty much never say no, to be honest with you.
I'm the same way.
I hate to do that. Yeah. And my employee, all the people that work at Giggles are like, can you just say no for once?
I don't think I can.
No, because I don't know what new customers we will get. And it's not just about all the new customers. It's just, I don't know. I just think it's important to be present in the community and to give back, because so many people have given so much to us that I want to give back.
It really is about the law of attraction. Whatever you put out, you're going to get back tenfold. So even if it wasn't a good financial move to do that, which it is. It's a good business move. It's good karma.
It is. Yep.
Chrissy, you've talked to us a lot about not just your business, but who you are as a person beyond and outside of Giggles. And bringing up the mom guilt, I think, has really shed a lot of light and gave experiences to other people that are like, I have that same thing. I too can't get my child to floss and all these things. But one of the goals of our podcast that we talk about is talking about things that people just like sweep under the rug, the stories that you don't want to tell, the things that make you maybe feel like, oh, I'm so imperfect, or like I just don't have my shit together. But collectively, I think we find that when we tell these stories that everybody really is in the same boat. It takes a village to raise a child and to raise ourselves into good, healthy, aware adults as well. I think we have to kind of team up with each other and make it to where there's that awareness so that we're better versions of ourselves. So we appreciate you talking to us about who you are and all the things that you do.
Well, thanks for having me. It was fun. It was kind of good to get it off my chest,
Exactly.
It's like, all right.
That's good. That's
Awesome.
good. So if you want to know more information, we've talked a lot about Giggles. Well, you can come and visit them in downtown Decatur, Illinois. We'll put the information on our social media, and you can connect with Chrissy and Giggles. And then also her husband's shop, you can also get some more information about Brass Horn, all those details. Plus, if you want to know more information on where to find the vlog or listen to the podcast, just check us out on Left at the Door on social media. Thanks for tuning in. This has been an episode of Left at the Door.
Left at the Door wants to thank Main Place Real Estate. This episode was recorded in their gorgeous new office space that's located on the 7th floor at 101 South Main Street in downtown Decatur, Illinois. Main Place Real Estate and its team of brokers exists to help people through the complex, emotional, and financially challenging real estate transactions. They're a team of professionals that understand the knowledge and the passion and the experience to make real estate transactions an incredibly easy experience for all of their clients. They have access to really important data, and then they understand that data and use it to serve the unique best interests of both buyers and sellers. They are a team of brokers that have served Central Illinois market, including Decatur, Forsyth, Mount Zion, and surrounding Macon County areas. When it comes to real estate, the best choice, it's Main Place Real Estate. They're available to help you find your place.